So yeah, so our time in the upper bracket has concluded. We're going to be focusing everything that we have on the lower bracket instead, and that means that these matches are that much more important because these are elimination matches. The winner moves on, the loser is eliminated from the qualifier. Oh boy. And here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming. It is RagnaroK. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have its opponent. We have the American Protoss player living in the land of South Korea, representing Maturino Esports. It is Astrea. So shout out to RagnaroK for going for the 15 hatch. You love to see it. With this opener, it is of course a little bit inefficient because it does interrupt your droning, but you do secure yourself your natural base. You do throw down the hatchery basically before the probe shows up, before Astrea can deny you this base. You do love to see it. So it is a 15-15 opener. The downside to this opener, of course, is your delayed gases. You will be getting into things like link speed later. This does also incentivize players to maybe even skip link speed and go straight into roaches. But we should be getting to link speed, to be fair. But it's one of those things where it's a pretty worthwhile trade-off because your fast lings aren't really they're not really the most useful of units in the early game, especially. You should be able to defend your mineral lines against a couple of adepts with queens and with slowlings, as long as you are in position. So yeah, there is that trade-off, of course. As Astrea is going for a much more standard gate expand opener. Oh, the opener is upon us. And so far, nothing too crazy outside of course, RagnaroK going for a bit of a different opener itself, but should still be leading into a standard game, of course, for the time being. Meanwhile, oh my god, Astrea, this is not the first time we've seen this today. He's not going for a Stargate, he's not going for a Twilight Council, he goes for a Robo opener. Let's go. Very similar to how Creator opened up on Ancient Cistern, if you recall. It does typically lead into a Robotic Spay into Disruptors for a Disruptor drop. And on a map like Neo Humanity, it's a little bit risky because the map is so small, you can trigger counterattacks quite quickly. Likewise, you can also be very aggressive yourself quite quickly as well, as additional gates are thrown down. It's very possible that Astrea may want to sell this as something like a Glaive Adept opener, as the Prism should be in production. There we go, the Prism is on the way. And the Stalker is revealed. Now, this Stalker is already a little bit suspect. You typically don't get a Stalker if you're going for a Stargate opener. Typically, not always, but typically. Just because it's a little bit unnecessary. You don't need to deny scouting. You don't need to deny this Overlord. You can preserve your gas and spend it elsewhere. Meanwhile, oh my god, we throw down 2 more gates instead. Let's go, it's a 2-base all-in. Okay, so it's going to be a Prism, not into a Bay, but into Immortal production. Did I say 2 more gates? I meant to say 3, 4, 5, 6 gates in total so far. This is going to be a slow lot all-in. Very, I wouldn't say old school, but, you know, very like 2021 meta. So there's no gas. 0 gases right now. We have mined enough gas for 1 Immortal and 1 Prism, and now we have slow lots. Nothing but slow Zealots. And this is where you realize you don't need charge. Charge is a luxury. It's a luxury that you don't need because Zealots, they can kill everything even when they're slow. It's terrifying. Now RagnaroK, he hasn't fully pieced this together.
Show me those skills.
He does see the Prism moving out across the map. He does have Lings in production as well, but Lings is not really what you want against this. You need Banelings, you need Roaches. RagnaroK, he is cutting workers early on here at 43. Roaches are in production. The Queens are being brought forward as well. And the Zealots are revealed. The all-in has been revealed. Killing this third base is not good enough. We need to go further. We need to go into the natural. Already, though, a good start here on this hatchery. Roaches have already been revealed, though, and now Astrea is on a timer. He should recognize that the longer this goes on, the more roaches are going to be built. Things do threaten us around. So far, a hot pickup with that prism, with that immortal. Oh, the queens, they go for the prism. They're diving on forward, and it looks like they will not get the war prism. But the queens are zoning it away. They go in anyway. Up, and they do get it. The war prism goes down. The immortal is going to get focused down as well. Can it be saved? It looks like it. It barely will. It barely will not. Now, with the death of the immortal and the prism, that is the main brunt of the army gone. It's only zealots remaining. Now, Astrea has already done a lot of damage, but he needs to do even more. He needs to get into the natural base. Oh, zealots are being surrounded. We can see Astrea is running out of steam. He's getting a couple of drones here and there, but he still needs more. And it looks like he's being cleaned up. It looks like RagnaroK has held. It was so close, though. Like, if the prism had survived, if the immortal had survived, we may have been able to end the game. We can see Astrea. He's rebuilding that immortal. He's moving out once again with those zealots. A transition is upon us. Astrea going for a second gas geyser as we speak. Has he done enough damage? He's done well for himself, but I don't think so. The roach count is getting scary. As the roach count gets higher, the likelihood of this all-in working gets lower, and RagnaroK is getting more control of his bases. It's going to be so difficult for Astrea to take a third. It's going to be so difficult for him to transition out of this. He is going for the linear third instead. We have shield batteries on the way. Astrea, he's going to try to macro out of this. Oh boy. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be difficult because as soon as RagnaroK catches wind of this, and he sees the third base, he knows that Astrea isn't committing to the all-in. RagnaroK, he's going to be getting ready for an assault. He's going to be getting ready to lay siege upon this third, and I mean, we have roaches in the way, we have lings as well. Creep is being spread as we speak. No lair. For good reason. I don't think RagnaroK wants a lair. I don't think he plans for the game to go on long enough to need a lair. Robotic space on the way. I feel like this is a little bit too late. I feel like we needed this space sooner, so we can get into disruptor sooner, so we can defend against a roach push sooner. As it stands, this push is going to hit before the disruptors are ready. What do we have to defend? We have 3 immortals. Shield batteries in production as well. Biles are going to be zoning away the army. So far, though, the choke point is working well here for Astrea. Oh, hot pickup as well, avoiding those Ravager shots. Overcharge is forced. We can see Astrea is forcing RagnaroK back for the time being. God, how many immortals do we have? We have 4 immortals so far. Again, the juggling has been good. So far, we are holding. So far, we are holding, and even if the army stands strong, it looks like the base is going to be going down. Wiles just forcing back that army time and time again. The Immortals are doing really well for themselves, though. They're gaining ground. And even though we get the Nexus, RagnaroK, he lost a lot of his army, and he's going to be forcing a counterattack. I'm getting some deja vu. I'm feeling some RagnaroK versus Creator vibes, where RagnaroK, he crippled the economy of Creator, but he spent so much of his army doing so that he just died to the counterattack. The difference this time being that the Miles do connect with the Prism. The difference this time being that the Ravagers did survive, just barely. They're trading well for themselves. Looks like RagnaroK has held. Oh, meanwhile, Astrea, he's going into Skytoss. It makes sense. It makes sense, you know, Astrea, he's stuck on 3 bases. He lost all of his map control. He lost a little momentum. Time to take to the skies. Oh. Yeah, not a bad shot. Not bad whatsoever. +1 air attack is on the way. Should be getting into Void Ray production as soon as those Stargates do finish. And RagnaroK is only just now taking up into his lair. And because RagnaroK was so committed, because he was so aggressive at trying to break that 3rd base, and he got the 3rd, don't get us wrong, he did get the base. He didn't get the probes though. He didn't get the probes, he was very adverse to droning, and as a result, RagnaroK is behind in the economy, he's behind in the drone count. Again, this is just like what happened in his game against Creator. So I am concerned. I'm concerned that right now RagnaroK is focusing on recovering economically. Good, Nova goes off on those lings. Again, very good trade so far here by Astrea. RagnaroK, as he backs off, as he licks his wounds, he's got a lot of wounds to lick. And this is going to allow Astrea to get into this Sky Toss. Meanwhile, interesting choice. He didn't make any Void Rays. He threw down some Chrono Boosts, unfortunately, on these Stargates. Didn't do anything with them. But he's not actually going for Void Rays, which is a really risky thing to do. But he's cutting corners, he's waiting for the Fleet Beacon, and he's going to be diving into the Carriers. Or the Tempest. One or the other. Okay. Carriers are in production. Oh, right, he made Oracles first, not Void Rays. That's right. We're going to be able to get a couple of drones here. Now, this is important. The Stargates have been revealed. Even though we haven't scouted the main base, RagnaroK now knows that there are Stargates on the field, and he should have that click in his mind. But that's kind of weird. That shouldn't be happening. There we go. Hydrogen is thrown down, so we're going to have access to some anti-air. Not a lot, but some. It does mean that even when the carriers reveal themselves, RagnaroK will have an answer for them. Speaking of, the carriers have arrived. Hydras are on the way. No Infestation Pit, no Hive, no Vipers, no Spellcasters. Pure Ling, Roach, Ravager, Hydra. Oh. He does try to catch out that Prism once again. Now, this is a little bit early. I don't know how I feel about this, but the carriers have been revealed. Good Nova on the Queens, and we're going to be able to snowball a little bit out of control, but no, the Hydras have arrived, and with that, Astrea has to be very careful with his carrier movements, with what he focuses down. There we go. We're trying to focus down the Hydras, but the Interceptors are being cleaned up. RagnaroK is going to be able to defend. As Astrea is expanding, taking a 4th base as we speak, pumping out more of these carriers. RagnaroK, he has refused to take up into a Spire. He's going to a Hive instead, and which is, I think, a good call. He's already got all these Hydras. He's already working on range upgrades. May as well head towards Vipers. May as well head towards Lurker Tech as well. This isn't a bad composition. It just doesn't scale amazingly well into the late game, so... And that's what I'm concerned by, because so far, look at Astrea's setup. He's not looking too bad defensively. He's got a lot of disruptors from the early game. He's got Colossi, he's got cannons, shield batteries, stasis traps. Upon scouting and seeing this, I feel like RagnaroK should throw down a Spire. I feel like he should recognize, hold up, can I really break this position? Can I really kill my opponent before he maxes out? Because if the answer is no, then we should get a Spire. Oh boy. Here we go. RagnaroK has maxed out. He does want to break this position. He looks at this. He's like, mate, I can take this. I can go toe-to-toe with this Protoss army. We are lacking in some shield batteries, is what I will say. We only have 1 shield battery here on the left-hand side. We have 1 shield battery here on the right. We could do with more static defense. And here we go. The Hydras are coming in from the right-hand side. One of these carriers is going to be going down for free. Very good pickoffs. Astrea caught out of position. Oh my god, as he does Nova his own Disruptor, sorry, his own Immortal and Colossus as well. A bit of a brutal Nova. As the army is going to be pushing on forward. We can see Astrea splitting off his Disruptors, making sure he doesn't get caught from behind. So far, RagnaroK hasn't lost anything of value. He's been throwing away, even here, he kills his own Ravagers. Like, RagnaroK, he knows that Ravagers and Roaches are a waste of supply right now. They are useless to him. There's that Spire. Thankfully, RagnaroK, he has recognized. This is a late Spire, unfortunately, so as a result, we're going to have late upgrades as well. Ooh, we can see Astrea double expanding as we speak. You can see RagnaroK wants to do something about that base. Novas are going to be going off. We have some good yoinks on these Disruptors, but 2 Novas will connect. A carrier falls. It looks like the Disruptor count for the most part is being reset. Good target firing there from RagnaroK, but the carrier stands strong. The carriers push through. Now without Disruptors though, they have to be very careful. What we lack in Disruptors, we make up for in High Templar. They can, of course, feed back the Vipers. They can feed back the Infestors. They can Storm. The Storm is still halfway done, so we have to wait a little bit on that. We could also use some Archons as well. Archons, they perform amazingly at defending against, like, the Lings, the Banelings, the Corruptors. No Archons, though, which is a little bit concerning. As the Hydra's being forced back, the wall has been broken. We can see Astrea's being pulled over towards the right-hand side. This is going to be exposing the left-hand side instead. Astrea, he is being spread thin. He only has 1 Death Ball. So RagnaroK could be looking to exploit that, as we can see him rotate over towards the left. He's looking for an opening, he's looking for a way in. Astrea was just unable to read the movement of his opponent. And he is going to force a recall. See a surround being set up, a good chunk of Hydras go down. But as RagnaroK bleeds out Hydras, he's replacing those Hydras with Corruptors. He's refining his army. He's taking up even further. Ooh, solid feedbacks on those Vipers. Very solid indeed. You see RagnaroK trying to go for a counter-attack instead. He's going to take down one of those shield batteries. The Lings are being cleaned up as we speak. More feedbacks are thrown down as well. The Vipers have no energy left. But RagnaroK is able to get one of those carriers, but this Death Ball is insane. A couple good Storms is all Astrea needs, and there it is. 1 good Storm. Forcing back the Hydras once again. Oh god, the Corruptors they overextend as well. Like, this is not a fight we should be taking right now if you're a RagnaroK. GG gets called, and Astrea takes game number 1. GG. And what I was referring to towards the end is that as a Zerg player, when you're dancing with a Skytoss army like this, you are heavily reliant on either your spellcasters or having an overwhelming amount of Corruptors. If they have a low Archon count, for example. And we did have a low Archon count, but we didn't have a lot of Corruptors. The Vipers were feedbacked at the very start of the fight, and they were never able to really get involved. There were no parasitic bombs, there were no additional abductions. Vipers are so crucial at that stage of the game. They are so crucial when it comes to that kind of dynamic of the late game armies. On top of that, RagnaroK, he had a really rough road to the late game as well. He didn't have the best upgrades on his Corruptors. He didn't have a lot of Corruptors either. And that was because he invested so heavily into the Hydras to begin with. And it took him a little bit too long to really accept the fact that he would need that Spire and he would need to transition out of Vipers as well. We at the time we did point out that, hey, like we're staying on this a little bit too long, and we're taking too long to transition. It does feel like the late game is something that RagnaroK did not want to take part in. It's not something that he wants to take part in. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming down in this series, but not out. It is RagnaroK. Hold on. Just fixing the colors. There we go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Sister, we have as opponent, we have the American Protoss representing Maturino Esports. It is Astrea. As a reminder, game 1 was wild because it started with a 2-base slow lot all in that did enough damage for Astrea to transition. I mean, it did a lot of damage, and also RagnaroK helped out by not droning. By also not droning, committing to his own counterattack instead and running into a wall of immortals. If you remember, we were, or at least I was equating game 1 of Astrea versus RagnaroK to game 2 of Astrea versus Creator. It was on Ancient Cistern where RagnaroK was in a decent position, but he kept overcommitting to destroying bases and mineral lines, and he would like sink so much supply into these bailing run-bys and these bailing counterattacks and into these pushes. And sure, he would kill a Nexus, but it would mean that he just wouldn't have a standing army to contest against the counterattack. And yeah, that did occur. That did of course occur in the previous game as well. RagnaroK sometimes misjudging whether or not or when he should commit and when he shouldn't, and was punished for it. As a result, Astrea was able to get into SkyToss, was able to tech up into that army composition and make full use of it. Because Neo-Humanity is so small as well, once you win a fight you can counterattack almost immediately. But things are going to be different here on Ancient Cistern. Much larger map. One of the largest maps in the map pool. Can sometimes favor late game as a result. Can happen. Oh. But we shall see. We shall see. As for the time being, we have a hatch gas spool from RagnaroK. We have a third base on the way as well, so everything's looking very normal from our Zerg player. Very macro-oriented from RagnaroK. Nothing too crazy. No early gases. No additional tech. Nothing out of the norm here. Meanwhile, across the map, Astrea is opening up Standard, which is important because game 1, Astrea did open up Robo first. With that all in, now we have a Stargate. Don't forget to stretch. I'm stretching my heart out right now. Okay. Here we go. I'm getting ready for another ZvT. ZvT? ZvP. Okay, just wake up. And it's going to be an Oracle opener, so nothing too crazy. Third base is on the way behind this as well. Ooh, this is actually a really fast third, by the way, from Astrea. As the first Oracle comes out, the third is already thrown down behind this. So a very greedy, very economic opener. The Lings are here to try and punish him, but the Oracle is at home. Is going to be able to help deal with these Lings. Oh, we can see the wall is not a wall, but we are able to wall off in time. Pylon was thrown down. Astrea is safe back at home. So far has been able to get away with his more greedy economic opener. This is very Hearthstone-esque. Love to see it. But this does force Astrea to stay at home with his oracles. It does mean that he's a little bit more vulnerable to these Link counterattacks. He's going to have to respect his opponent, and he's going to be stuck at home a little bit longer. Especially because Astrea did also skip a couple of warpins as well. Once again, the Ling's going to be threatening that natural base. But Astrea is here to stop him. Is here to fend him off. And oh, Astrea's actually got a fourth Oracle on the way. Oh my god. Okay, so we have a fourth Oracle. We have 2 more gates. Because of the 4th Oracle, we're delaying our Twilight Council. We're delaying our Forge. Are we just not going to make them? I feel like we should still have a Twilight Council on the way for charge. We're not stopping. We're not stopping Oracle production. So, there's a build. There's a build that Hero does. There it is. There's a build that Hero does where he goes for Mass Oracle, Chargela all in. With +1 as well. I wonder if that's what Astrea wants to whip out. That's what he wants to go for. For the time being, I believe the additional oracles haven't been revealed. I think we've only shown 3. And we should be working towards like 8. So just non-stop oracle production. Once that Twilight Council finishes, we should be seeing that charge. Oh, we're actually going to be revealing our oracles beforehand. Okay, so this is very different. This is very different from Astrea. There's charge. There are the Archons. So he's not going to be hitting a timing with his charge shots and with his Archons. He's initially coming in with these oracles to try to cripple the economy, to try to get ahead in such a manner. They dive on the high energy Queen. The Queen will go down. Oh, we traded Queen for an Oracle. So far, RagnaroK completely shuts this down. Ay. Not a good start here for Astrea. Losing 2 Oracles for 1 Queen. Not like this. The build-up of these Oracles just haven't really paid for themselves. He's going for some drones, and he's going to get some of them at the same time. A massive link counterattack. Do we have enough at home to defend? The shield battery goes down. The boys are being pulled. Ay. Yeah, this is getting out of control. RagnaroK, he is busting on through the overcharge, putting in a lot of work on the high ground. Zealots are being morphed in as well. The Oracles, they race back home. But how many probes are going to survive? Looks like we only do 7. This could have been a lot worse. This could have been so much worse. Meanwhile, a Hydra Den was thrown down. Ling Hydra is the composition of choice here for RagnaroK. He's got +2 melee on the way. He's got his 4th base already up and running. I worry quite a lot here. Worry a lot for Astrea. He's basically lost all map control. He's lost a lot of momentum. He spent so many resources on these oracles, and he didn't do damage with them. He also sustained damage back at home as well. You can see RagnaroK is getting ready for his assault. His Hydra should be looking to clean up some of these rocks, just setting up for a rally across the map, spreading out creep as well, just establishing himself. Oracle dips in, and that is going to be distracting RagnaroK, at least a little bit. Is going to be keeping his attention. Here on the front lines, we can see Astrea turtling up back at home. He has recognized that he's kind of missed his opportunity to be aggressive, and now he is stuck at home, turtling up on 4 bases. Mortals, Archons. Storm is done. RagnaroK, he's getting ready for the 1-2 punch. He's got his main army here towards the bottom right-hand corner. He's got mainly Bailing Hydra here on the left-hand side as well. He wants to pull apart Astrea. Can he pull it off? We got a lot of stasis traps. We have stood up our army. We have storms available on both sides. Can Astrea keep up with this? Oh my god, a massive storm on those Baileys. The majority of them are going to be going down. Only Hydras remain at the same time, and RagnaroK is going to try and push in here on the right-hand side, but now Astrea can focus on this. The wall is being thrown down once again. Do we have enough storms, though? We have significantly less here to defend. First stage trap does go off. A massive storm on the Hydras. Bailings, though, they're trying to get in. They will not. The cannons do hold strong. We can see Astrea trying to reposition his army. It looks like he was unable to split up his army properly enough. He did not have it up here on the right-hand side to defend, but he just barely will. It cost him a lot of cannons. It cost him a lot of units. But he is holding. He is standing strong. Okay, he's got one High Templar here on the left-hand side with some Storms. He's got more High Templar available here on the right-hand side. Another Stasis Trap goes off as well. And it looks like RagnaroK is going to try to collapse on the third base, but he's getting surrounded. Who is surrounding who? That is the question as Astrea comes in from behind. The Banelings don't get into the mineral line. RagnaroK bleeding out a lot, trying to push in. And he's not stopping. He's drawn up to 79. Basically 80 workers. Just remaxing on pure Ling Bane Hydra. Gets another Oracle. He's going to try and consolidate his army. He's going to try and push in once again. Baneling Runby doesn't make it through. He's baiting out some Storms. Don't have too many of those. We don't have too many Storms in the chamber. We have 2. About to be 4. RagnaroK is having a really hard time breaking any of these positions. As time goes on, this is getting better and better for Astrea. You can see that he's rebuilt his wall. More stasis traps, more cannons, more shield batteries. He goes for a counterattack across the map. Zealots don't find too much damage, but they do force back a lot of reinforcements. They do keep RagnaroK busy. Oh my god, as once again massive Storms go off on these Banelings. They do force a couple of High Templar to morph into Archons, but outside of that, they don't find any other damage. Storm does get baited. You can see Astrea trying to sneak out of base. And RagnaroK once again seems to be overextending the cells. They come in from behind, they collapse on the Hydras. GG gets called. And Astrea, he holds on, he takes game number 2 and the series. GG. Well played, Astrea. Doing so well for himself, being able to split up his army, just hold on, defend, recognize that RagnaroK was just purely being aggressive. RagnaroK wasn't taking up into Hive Tech, he wasn't taking up into Lurkers or anything else, just pure Lingbane Hydra, essentially all in. And one bad fight is all it took for RagnaroK to be broken. And with that, GG, well played. Astrea moves on. RagnaroK has been eliminated from the qualifier. GG. GG, well played. Very impressive result here from Astrea. He takes down one South Korean Zerg player, and now he's going to be facing off against another. It's going to be another South Korean Zerg in Dongregu. DRG has been patiently waiting for him.